What is up, man? It has been a while since we have been in the studio. It is good to be back, and it is that time for our I Hate Division preview shows. We do these every single year because I always hated division previews as a content consumer. So now that I'm a content creator and we have to do these, I try to make them fun. So tonight we're going to be doing the NFC and the AFC East. And we do them in a mock draft format. So it's a lot of fun. So hang tight.
Going for two, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
What is going on? And welcome to episode 455 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Geoff Lambert. Find me on Twitter at JeffLambert77 and find all of our content over at goingfor2.com. I'm here with my two co-hosts, Ryan, who's a couple $100 richer after a pretty good streak of selling some cards here recently. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. It's so exciting. We're like at football season. We got terrible player ratings going on in real life. We got all kinds of good stuff going on.
Love
We're
it.
like almost through clickbait season.
Yep, we're almost through list season. I've seen a ton of lists, like the top this and the top that.
Oh,
Yeah. It's the top guys that you need in your draft and the top guys to avoid and all that craziness. We got Chew over here rocking a football jersey. What's up, Chew?
What's up? And by the way, I'm well aware that Messi currently wears number 10. 18 is actually the first jersey number he ever wore in international play. So while this is technically a knockoff jersey, it is authentic in the sense that he did wear this number at one point. So
point. I wouldn't have even known. So
nope.
had no clue.
This is a football podcast, not soccer.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, tonight we are doing our I Hate Division previews. I've told this story multiple times, but I'll kick it off again and tell the story one more time. As a content consumer, before I ever did podcasts, I always hated when podcasts did the division previews. I felt like they were kind of boring. They kind of just skimmed the top of the surface. They didn't really get deep. They just kind of touched on the top players and just moved on. So when I became a content creator, I wanted to do it a little bit differently. Force you to really dig deep into the divisions. So what we do a mock draft, essentially 2 rounds, 12 teams, and you can only draft players from that single division. So tonight we're doing the NFC East and the AFC East. We're doing it a little bit different this year. I'll go ahead and pull up the draft board. We're going to do it in one massive draft. So it's going to be 4 rounds technically. The first 2 rounds will be the NFC East, and then the second 2 rounds will be the AFC East. It's going to be a super flex, so 2 quarterbacks, super flex, tight end premium, and we are doing this from a redraft perspective. So for this year only. So those guys are a little bit older. If they have one more good year in them, they will be drafted higher. And some of those young rookies may drop a little bit. But trust me when I tell you, when we get to that second round, it does get pretty ugly sometimes. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and kick things off here. Let me get the draft board up so I can get it started on my phone here. And we'll go with you, Chew, first. You get the first pick, and then we'll go Ryan, and I'll take the third pick here. So go ahead and talk about your first pick here for the NFC East division.
So certainly going quarterback. It is super flex, like you said, and
Oop, sorry. I have to.
Whoa.
I had it set to auto. Let me pause it and start it over.
you know what picks we're gonna make. Just set it, put it on auto.
Yeah, I mean, we did got the first quarterback at least was in the East. All right, let's erase these. Sorry, go ahead and continue, Chew, while I fix this.
So I know that the Washington fans, Geoff, near you, are probably still haunted by the injury concerns of RG3 and maybe think that it's been reincarnated in Jaden Daniels. But I'm having Jaden Daniels here at the 101. I do think that he can recreate at least a version of what his rookie season was. I know that the biggest concern of him coming out of college, he's got the live arm, he's mobile, he's shifty, but that kind of frame and how he just abuses it was going to catch up with him in the NFL. It sure as hell did in the sophomore season, but I really do think that he's not so much of a Lamar where, again, Lamar can throw. I'm not saying he can't, but Jane Daniels can slice and dice from the pocket, but his mobility is kind of that. I think it became more of like a crutch, but I think if it's used more as like a tool strategically, I think that can keep him on the field and that can keep him pumping up fantasy points. And while the wide receiver room is not tremendous outside of Terry McLaurin, I do think Ed and Chigakonkwo, RBs are okay. But I think overall, I mean, they're going to be needing to put up a lot of points to keep up with this division. And Jane Daniels is my guy here at 101.
Yeah, and listening to DC Radio today, they are pretty much convinced that the Commanders are going to go after Stephon Diggs. Now, whether or not Diggs will want to come here or not is the question. But they are talking about, because they obviously won't go after Ayuk now. That Ayuk ship has sailed. He kind of ruined that for himself. But, there's still a couple of veterans out there, and Diggs is probably the best of the group. Keenan Allen was also mentioned, and so was Tyreek Hill. But I think Diggs probably fits this offense a little bit better. So that would improve Jaden Daniels' outlook as well if he gets a guy like Diggs in here. All right, Ryan, you got the 102 here.
Little offended you said he slices and dices better than the man with the number one all-time highest quarterback rating of all in NFL history. But dude, I love Daniels, but he takes Looney Tune injuries. Like, it's not like normal injuries. It's 2024 rib injury, 2025 knee sprain, hamstring strain, elbow dislocation. Like, he takes unnecessary hits, thus scaring the shit out of me. And I know I should take quarterback here. And quarterback's so good in this. But CeeDee Lamb's still a top 3 receiver, top 4 receiver, and locked at it. If he's on the field, he's putting up elite numbers. George Pickens doesn't hurt him. He's a superstar. I know exactly what I'm going to get. And the drop off, once you hit that wide receiver 6, which you can put those top 6 guys in any order, he's one of them, is big. So I'm taking him.
Yeah, I like that. I like that pick. I was wondering if you were going to take one of those quarterbacks or not. But yeah, Lamb, I got Lamb in my Scott Fishbowl draft, and I am ecstatic. And I stacked him with the pick I'm going to make next. You talked about Lamb being in that offense. You mentioned Pickens, another great player that they have there. And this is redraft. So I'm going to be taking Dak Prescott here as my quarterback 1 in this fake league here. That offense should be explosive, right? As long as Lamb and Pickens are healthy. You got Ferguson in the middle. Javonte Williams was really good last year as well. It's going to be a high-scoring team, and I want every piece of that offense I can get. So, Superflex League, I will take Dak Prescott here at the 103.
Easy.
Back to you, Chew.
Well, I'm gonna be nice and boring and lean into this this whole Superflex thing we're doing here, and that is actually mildly tough. Honestly, I don't know what to think about Jalen Hurts this year. I do think there's a good floor to just how he plays and what he can do for fantasy, but I'm gonna go Jackson Dart here. I know that there's still a lot of uncertainty with Malik Neighbors and what that offense is going to look like, but kind of in a similar, the Giants defense is tremendously better than the Commanders defense, but I really do think that Jackson Dart in a more stable offense. I know Brian Daboll, whether it was him asking Jackson Dart to put his life on the line every game or not, or if that's just what Dart did and Daboll was just glad that he was keeping his job. I'm not sure which one was happening, but I think that there's a cohesive offensive unit kind of growing, and I like that it's a lot of younger guys that are kind of like all kind of coming up at the same time. And I really do think outside of Neighbors, I know it's a who's who of, it's Slayton, Juju Smith-Schuster, as a Calvin Austin. I mean, it's an interesting mix of people. Darnell Mooney, like I don't know how it's going to work from a receiver standpoint, but I think there's enough people there, and I think Jackson Dart is a good enough quarterback that he's going to lead this offense, and especially from a fantasy standpoint, again, if he keeps himself healthy, his legs are deadly, but hopefully it's used more as, maybe some short yardage rushing, getting touchdowns and that sort of thing. But he can't slice and dice quite as much as the first guy I was talking about. But I trust him here in fantasy. So if I'm able to stack these two guys in Superflex, I'm going for it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Did you hear Harbaugh's comment on him today?
Mm-mm.
He plans on using him just like Lamar Jackson.
I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I actually didn't even make that correlation. I wasn't even thinking Jackson Dart and Harbaugh there. That's a pretty good combination there. I think he will find the way to get the best out of Dart.
Yeah, but Matt Nagy is the offensive coordinator.
Oh,
that is I don't know how. Like, how is this still happening?
Nobody knows. It's
hell. He was in Kansas City last year, right?
Yeah. Matt Nagy.
Reed calls the plays, but still
he has dirt on every head coach in the NFL. That's why he keeps getting jobs. He's got something on him.
He really freaking does, dude. It's insane.
All right, Ryan, you were back up here at the 105.
I'm taking Jalen Hurts. The upside, because the rushing upside's there. I know he lost A.J. Brown. That's a big deal. But also getting yelled at by your wide receiver one is rough, and maybe he's not afraid to run still. The tush push still in effect. They have offense coordinator number 5, so might be the lucky charm. But he's still a very solid full quarterback play, and he's going to get you points no matter what because of how much he can rush.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, Jalen Hurts, like you mentioned, the tush push is still a thing. They try to get rid of it. They didn't. It wasn't quite as effective last year as it had been in previous years. But still, he's going to get those short yardage touchdowns. It's going to be a good thing for him.
He had a little bit of a down year last year, it happens. But it was still QB9 in a bad year.
Yep. Not too bad. I would take that for sure. All right. I am on the clock now, and I think my pick is pretty easy here for a redraft league. We have yet to dip into the running backs, and there is one running back that can do it all. Had a bit of a down year himself last year as RB 14, I believe. That offense in general just took a step backward, but it is still Saquon Barkley. So I will take Saquon Barkley here at the 106 as the first running back off the board in the NFC East. And back to you, Chew.
Well, that actually was going to be my pick, so that's a bummer. But there's plenty more talent here, obviously. So say without thinking too hard about it, I'm probably going to go ahead and go with Terry McLaurin, and maybe it's just the misguided thought that the Commanders, I don't think they're going to recreate the magic, like just everything bounced their way two seasons ago that got their team as far as it did. But I think from a fantasy standpoint, I really do think they can get back on track similarly to 2 years ago. And a huge piece of that was Jane Daniels' connection with Terry McLaurin. That hasn't gone anywhere. If both of these guys are entering the season healthy, McLaurin is still the definitive number one in that offense. And there's enough continuity between those two and between other pieces of that offense to where I feel like they're going to pick up more or less where they left off. And McLaurin may not have a career year, but I think it probably will be his second best career season, only to that one from 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, I think Terry got kind of set back a little bit last year with the whole holdout thing, and he didn't really look like himself to start the season. So he had a down season because of that, and I think also Jaden Daniels also had a down season because of that as well. Besides the injuries, so he's got a full season this year, a full off season, so he should come out guns a blazing this season. All right, Ryan, you got the next pick here.
It's weird taking a wide receiver 2 on a team when there's still legit wide receiver 1s around. I'm taking George Pickens. They throw the ball so much. Dak threw the ball 600 times last year.
That's crazy. It's insane.
The defense is still not that great. They're going to keep throwing the ball, and he's an absolute stud and probably the best wide receiver 2 in the league. I think he's still an 1,100, 7 touchdown kind of a guy, maybe more. So I'm going to take him here.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
It's also another good stack in Scott Fishbowl.
Yes, exactly, for sure. Especially if
you got that. Did you say you got that stack?
Yeah, I got him and Dak.
Nice. All right, I'm up next, and I think the guy that I'm about to take probably would have gone where Ryan just went if it wasn't for some of this injury concern stuff that we have been hearing, or these extra surgeries that he's taking. And but I still believe that he is a super talented receiver, and if I have to wait, maybe he gets put on the PUP list for the first 4 games. I think he comes back and is electric once again. So I am going to take Malik Neighbors here at the 109 pick.
Oh, he's so scary.
Yeah,
I want to love Malik Neighbors so much. I think he's so good, but he's so scary.
Definitely, and I have him in way too many dynasty leagues too, which is making me nervous.
I can't even make you feel better, as you should feel nervous. I want him. I have no shares of him, and I'm sad about it, but I'm also like a little relieved.
All right, Chew, you are on the clock.
So I think it was a few weeks back. I did kind of consider this guy that I'm a bit more bearish on him, and it's really only relative to how much people have freaked out considering the perceived opportunity he's going to have with AJ Brown leaving Philly. But I'm gonna go Devonta Smith here. I don't know what this offense is going to look like. I don't think it's going to be polar opposite from what it has the last couple of seasons, but I do think that there's kind of a changing of the guard with what the receiver room looks like, and with new play caller. And I think it will be fine. I think it will be okay, but I don't think that Devonta Smith is going to reach the AJ Brown heights. They are not the same player. They're not the same receiver, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just Devonta Smith is not the yards after the catch receiver that AJ Brown was, and I still think kind of is to a lesser degree, but still somewhat. And I think at this point, Devonta Smith, I think we still have some running backs to go through, but he feels like a safe pick here. That he has a nice floor. Again, still very good offense, but still a little worried about people overestimating what's really going to happen there in Philly.
Yeah, they're expecting him to be AJ Brown, and I think you're right. I don't think that is going to be his ceiling. I do think he will be very good. The only thing that I am worried about is, Jalen Hurts isn't really a timing quarterback, and I think Devonta Smith is the kind of receiver that needs a timing quarterback because he runs such great routes that Jalen Hurts sometimes doesn't look like he knows where to put the ball ahead of time. So that scares me a little bit because AJ Brown was more of the just go up and get it. Hurts would just launch it, go up and get it, figure it out. And that's not Devonta Smith's game. So I do think there's going to be a little bit of struggle in that sense. But he's an awesome player. And we saw even when AJ Brown was out a few games, he always stepped up. So I don't think there's going to be a situation where he's going to, fall off. So I agree with that pick there.
Dude, let Devonta Smith's fantasy finishes last 4 years, 25, 28, 22, 10. And then when he was 28, he only played 13 games.
Yeah.
And that's the only season he missed 1,000 yards. He's good.
He's very
good. He is a very good wide receiver too. He just gets chunk games. He is the new era Brandon Cooks, where he's just going to put up numbers. We don't care. But at the end of the year, you're happy you had him.
Yep, exactly. Just consistent. Ryan, you got the 11th pick here.
Dude, I just got all Cowboys. I hate it. Give me Javonte. They passed a lot, they also ran a lot. They had a ton of red zone opportunities. he had just a complete resurgence of his career last year. Finished as running back 11 with 1,200 yards. Dude, he was really good in that offense. And with that passing attack, he's going to continue to be good in that offense.
Yeah, that's a great pick, and that honestly I think is a little bit of where the ledge is on talent. There's a few more guys that I like here, but that he was sort of the last no brainer pick. And I
Yeah.
think you got to kind of make some decisions here. All right, so I'm up at the 112 here, and I think I'm going to go with a little bit of some upside. This player we kept wanting to see on his own. He was kind of in the shadow of Mark Andrews for so long. It is tight end premium, like I mentioned. He is now in New York with Dart in that offense. Harbaugh is now his coach up there as well. So I'm going to take Isaiah Likely here at the 112 and kind of bet on that upside and that athleticism that he ends up being the tight end that we all hoped he was going to be, the last couple of years. Ryan,
I think especially has a good opportunity with Neighbors being out. I feel like they're looking for that next person to step up, and it wouldn't be crazy if it's him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I was hoping he'd fall.
I saw you shaking your head. I thought you were against it.
No. I think he's their wide receiver 1 at this point in life.
Yeah, it should be a good season for him.
They're fortunate to have Theo Johnson already. I mean, he's a bruising blocker. So, but I mean, he's still a capable pass catcher, but again, not the best hand. So I feel like with so many of the teams run the 2 tight end sets, that's in a very ideal combo right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the two tight end combo is the John Harbaugh special, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, tight end factory in Baltimore. Yep.
All right, Chew, you got the 201.
Well, let me go ahead and pair Jackson Dart with just the absolute maniac in the backfield of Cam Skattebo. I think my team, when we get to the field, they're going to get out of the ambulance. That's what they're going to take to the field.
That's the team.
It's entirely possible that half of my team is on the IR halfway through the season, but if healthy, I feel good about it. Skattebo, much like which was talked about of some of the coach be coming out of New York, there's plenty of talk of confidence in Skattebo and what they want to be feeding him the ball. And by all accounts, I think there's certain people that are just different breeds. And I know his injury was not a simple and not a clean one. It happened early enough in the season, and he's just an absolute maniac that I don't know how long this man's career is going to be, but I think that if he's back, a part of training camp, which obviously is coming up real soon here, and is healthy, and I think the sky's the limit for this guy, especially seeing his receiving ability at a portion of his collegiate career, and saw that trickle into last season as well. I know it's a small sample size. We try to extrapolate that to a full season, try to make it seem like it's going to happen. But I feel like we've seen enough of him in college, and I think we've seen enough of it translate early in the NFL on a not-so-good Giants team last season that I do think a slightly improved offensive line this season, continuity with Jackson Dart, and the fact that it's devoid of a lot of weapons outside of that, I think it's going to be a huge piece of this offense.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Great pick, and everything you said is absolutely true. Like, how long is this guy's career going to last? Because he is kind of a wild card for sure. All right, Ryan, you got the 202 here.
I was really struggling on this. I think we had another drop off, but I'm gonna take Jake Ferguson here. Let's keep the Cowboys coming.
You just going all Cowboys tonight.
We do, but they have so many offensive weapons. He finished as top 5 tight end last year. Again, like I said, 600 pass attempts. And for to be honest, there's not much depth. They have a bunch of high end weapons, but not much after them. And Jake Ferguson went on the field. He got targeted 102 times. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Gladly take that position.
Yeah, that's a really good pick there. And again, we've mentioned that offense multiple times now and how much they passed the ball last year. So there's enough balls to go around for the 3 guys we've drafted as receivers, Ferguson, Lamb, and Pickens to all get, their share.
Yeah. I mean, their offense is a lot better than every other offense on this list, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I am up next, and I am going to take a guy that is a running back that had a career low of 40 catches last year. He's typically been a pass catching running back, actually had 64 catches in 2023. And I think that's how he's going to be used in this offense. He's not very efficient in the run game per se, but I do think that they're going to use him quite a bit in the passing game, especially with the lack of pass catchers we mentioned earlier. Terry McLaurin is pretty much their main guy. So I am going to take Rachaad White here.
Man, I was hoping he'd fall.
Dude, poor Bill.
Yeah, poor Bill. He won like rookie of the week like 4 or 5 times last year, and can't even. His team's already replaced him essentially,
and nobody cares.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Chew, you're up.
Well, one of these guys, I do not think it's going to get back to me, which is entirely okay. But the one that will not get past me is Dallas Goedert. I know that they got Stowers. I know that, again, like I already mentioned, even when I got Devonta Smith, the uncertainty of what this offense is going to look like. But Dallas Goedert having 11 touchdowns, tied for the most last season amongst tight ends. I know that Hurts is still going to be a big weapon at the goal line. I know Saquon's still going to get his touches, but I do think I'm okay getting the tight ends and chasing those touchdowns. I know it's never the stickiest stat. It's never lost on me, but I think especially at that position, unless you're getting the guys that are the high target earners, there's only sincerely a handful in the NFL. I do think that Goddard's returning to Philly. I thought he took a pay cut to stay there.
He did.
It almost felt like another Zach Ertz situation where they're going to ship him out, but I guess he's going to stick around for at least one more season. Yep. But I think that is meaningful, and I think there's a lot of comfort and trust with Goddard between he and Hurts and just in this offense. So I think at this point in the draft, I'm going with something like that where I feel like a couple of tight end spike weeks could do the team good.
Yeah, and you got the tight end premium working in your favor as well, so that helps. All right, Ryan, you're at the 205.
Oof. I think it's time to take some chances. I'm taking Mekhi Lemon. You mentioned before about when we were talking about Devonta Smith about how he's not a run after catch guy that AJ Brown was, but guess what?
Mekhi
Lemon is. He is absolutely electric with the ball in his hand. It's not running through guys like we saw with AJ Brown and through brute strength. He is quick as a hiccup. He makes people miss, and he gets upfield. I think he's a true weapon. If they get him involved, which they should, never know with that offense, but if they do, he could have a huge season.
Yeah, I love that pick there. Especially at this point in the draft, you're just really betting on upside now because it is getting a little ugly down here with some of these guys.
I feel like this division is better than it normally is, though.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Like Mekhi Lemon at the 205 actually is not a bad pick. Whereas last year we were taking some of the garbage, scraping the heap there. All right, let me see. I'm up. There's a couple guys I like on the list still at this point. All of them are sort of upside guys that they may be good and they can also not be. I'm going to stick with the tight ends, and I'm going to take a guy that I know that they're excited about here in Washington. I know us fantasy players every year keep hyping up Chig. This is the year Chig's going to break out. He always teases us at the end of every season, has like a monster 3 or 4 games to end the season, and we're like, oh, he finally figured it out. And then the next year he goes back and does the same thing and is terrible for the first part. I'm going to hope he breaks that trend here in Washington, and I'm going to take Chig Okonkwo here at the 206. All right, Chew, you were back up at the 207.
We're getting thin here. So we've only had one of these receivers go off the board from this team. Of course, I already have them. I'm going to go Antonio Williams here. I really liked the pick for the Commanders, and I know that at that time, and I mean, it's still even to this point, there's not that other receiver outside of Terry McLaurin. like was already talked about, I do think that they're going to add another veteran presence there. Debo was a nice piece last year, and obviously he has already just said he's not coming back. I think it's seemingly that he will be ring chasing, which again at this point in his career I understand. But this is not a bad Washington offense. It's just not the team that he's likely trying to join with the Rams or whoever else. So I think Antonio Williams, even if they end up adding a Diggs or what have you, I think Williams already has the role that he still would occupy, and it's going to be more of a little bit of PPR upside here and there. Again, at this point in the draft, there's not a lot of tremendously exciting options. But I think at this point, also, if you're looking for some upside, try to go ahead and get a rookie who is priced this low right now and does have the capability of increasing in value, especially if they get a little more pass happy in Washington because they're trying to preserve Jaden Daniels. So.
Yeah, I think he's one of the few guys left on the list that has a little bit of a, like the rest of the guys, most of them, we know what they are at this point in their careers, right? You know what you're getting. Whereas Antonio Williams being a rookie, we don't really know what we're getting from him yet. So I think at this point, you're betting on the unknown upside of what he could potentially be. Opportunity will definitely be there, especially if they don't sign a veteran receiver. He will get all the opportunities he can possibly get. So I think that's a great pick at 207. All right, Ryan, 208.
Feel bad on this one. I mean, I feel gross, but I was thinking about taking Bill here, but I'm gonna take Tyrone Tracy. I don't trust Cam Scadaboo's health at this time, and I don't trust his love for leading with the head. And I think you're gonna get some run out of Tracy. I think he's a top end handcuff running back this year in general. Even though that's a bad offense, they're still gonna run the ball a lot, and I think they'll rotate. And he's a pretty good pass catcher out of the backfield. He's a nice little piece there, and they need anything they can get.
I love it. All right. So Tyrone Tracy is who I was hoping was going to fall. When you mentioned Bill, I was like, oh, good. I get to get Tyrone Tracy. But
You think Bill?
yeah, I think it's Bill. I think, I talked about Rachaad White and his, pass catching chops. But Rachaad White has never been great in the run game itself. I think he has a career average of 3.9 yards per rush. He usually got there on volume when he was in with the Buccaneers. So I think Bill is still the quote unquote running back part of this tandem. So he had some pretty good games last year. I think he can recreate some of that. So I'll take Bill here. And Chew, this is your last pick of the NFC East.
It doesn't feel great at this point. Well, in the spirit of the uncertainty of the Giants wide receiver room, I'm going to go ahead and get.
Which one? Because there's
yeah. So I've been high on this guy ever since college, and I know it hasn't gone. He's had his ups and downs. I'm going to go Darnell Mooney. So they have just a weird mishmash of wide receivers in that room. I think it's just kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what's going to stick. And I know Mooney is now on his third team.
Yep.
Sorry. So kind of flamed out in Chicago, but that was, also a pretty atrocious offense where he had to lead it in the receiver room. And, just some inconsistency last season with the Falcons. But, I mean, he's not a bad depth receiver. He does really good work on the outside. I know he's not the absolute tallest, biggest guy, but, I mean, he's just he's a menace on the outside. And I really feel like with what else they have in that wide receiver room, he can carve out a very specific role. And at this point in the draft, and it's sometimes in fantasy, that's just you're on the bench until I have to throw you at the end of like the last flex spot that 1 week. And I think he could at least do a little something there. So going Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I like it. And I said which one because when I was doing the depth charts here, I was like writing all these Giants receivers down. I think Slayton, Malachi Fields, and Darnell Mooney are all kind of in that like pick your poison kind of player.
Calvin Austin too. I didn't even know they had him.
Yep, Calvin. You throw him in the
taking
mix.
over the Sterling Shepard role.
Yeah.
God,
all right, Ryan. Your last pick here in the NFC East.
I'm going to just say, what if Washington doesn't sign a receiver
Yep.
It's not pretty. He's struggled some, but he's been on some bad offenses. I think he has some yak potential and a little bit of gadgetry to him. I think he could be an okay player for them, especially if that offense does get humming. I'm willing to take a dart throw in this situation.
Yeah, and he actually, I was watching one of the countdowns on, I think it was NFL Network, and he had one of the best catches last year in the end zone. So his hands are still there because that was a pretty amazing catch. So if he can, at this point in the draft, just bet on upside, he's a good bet as any. All right, I am going to round out the NFC East with the last pick of the NFC East, and it is ugly. I'm going to just tell y'all who's on the list still. Kaytron Allen, the rookie running back for the Commanders. We got I can't even say his name. Datavian Wicks for the and then Hollywood Brown is there. Jalen Lane, Diami Brown, Slayton we mentioned, Malachi Fields. Oh man, brutal. I think I'm going to end it off with a rookie. We mentioned Goddard, and we mentioned also 2 tight end sets and how they've become really popular in the NFL. And they spent a pretty good high draft pick on Eli Stowers. So I'm going to take Eli Stowers here as my last pick and hope that he can coexist with Goddard. And then if, God forbid, Goddard was to go down, he'd get the full workload. So that rounds out the NFC East. All right, we're going to go ahead and just roll straight into the AFC East, which
might get ugly.
Yeah, I'd say this is a very top-heavy division. This one's got some of the best players, overall in the NFL. Josh Allen and Drake May and James Cook. Some of the best players out there, and then you're going to fall off pretty quickly, I think. So we'll keep it in the same order, just so my brain doesn't collapse on itself. And we'll go with you, Chew. You get the first pick here.
I'm excited when we get to some Dolphins, but in the meantime, I'm gonna keep it very simple and go Josh Allen. Not gonna get cute here. He's QB1. He's QB1 until he just leaves the NFL. I mean, I'm trying to imagine a fall off of Josh Allen, and I know we're far enough from it to where I just can't envision it. But he's QB1 here.
Yeah, I agree. There's no question. Obviously, the rushing upside is what puts him over the top over Drake May. But yeah, Josh Allen, easiest pick here, I think, in this entire draft for both divisions. All right, Ryan, 102.
Drake May finished 15 points behind Josh Allen in his second year without a wide receiver 1.
Fair.
Put some respect on name. We're adding AJ Brown to the mix for him. Dude, the superstar ascension's on its way. Give me Drake May.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 easiest picks to make right there.
He also is not a turnover machine.
This is true. And he's
Hey, don't talk about Geno Smith like that.
And by the way, only 129 less rushing yards.
Really? That's surprising. I would
Are the touchdowns that different? Maybe rushing touchdowns. I mean,
yeah, vastly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 10 different. He has 10 less rushing touchdowns and 6 more passing.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen was in like the top 8 or so or 9 of rushing touchdowns. Period.
He always is.
Yes.
That's awesome.
He's 260 pounds. What are you gonna do to stop that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Drake May had 36 touchdowns last year, or 35 touchdowns. My math's not. Like he's
a beast.
He's a beast.
All right. So I am on the clock. I know it's super flex, but I just can't pull the trigger on either one of those quarterbacks. So
come on.
I am going to take the best running back in this division, and I'm going to take James Cook, make it easy for myself. I think, every year people are, can he reproduce the touchdown that he, the amount of touchdowns he had the year before? And so far he's been able to do it. So I'm going to keep rolling with him. I think his offense is going to be good once again this year. James Cook's, even though Josh Allen takes a lot of those goal line touches away from him, he still finds a way to get into the end zone enough times to be relevant. So James Cook is an easy pick here for me at the 103. Back to you, Chew, at the 104 for the AFC East.
Well, Ryan, much like you were saying, I need to stop slandering this man's name, and I will never slander his favorite pass catcher's name in AJ Brown, because that's who I'm taking right here. He is. I know last season, on a game-to-game basis, it would not feel like he had the fantasy finish by the end of the season that he actually would. But I do think that, again, whether it was off the field stuff, it's wide receiver diva stuff. I sincerely don't know, and I'm sure none of us ever do or will find out. But AJ Brown in this offense, I know the Patriot way is to spread the ball around and just make it as best for Drake May as possible, and maybe not necessarily elevate one guy on a week-to-week basis, but they also now have AJ Brown, and I think that makes it a little bit of a different conversation. And I think having enough, getting Romeo Dobbs, but there's enough glue guys of you have the Matt Collins, Hunter Henry's still there, um, Booty Douglas. Like, there's plenty of other guys where I know they can do a lot of the dirty work. I'm not saying AJ Brown won't, but the production's going to come for AJ Brown. I think it might not be vintage AJ Brown necessarily, but it's going to be something really, really close to that. And I think he's going to be another wide receiver one this upcoming season.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And talking about the quote unquote off the field / on the field issues that he had, usually when you have receivers like that and they change teams for at least their first year, they're on their best behavior. So I think for this year, I think AJ Brown will be fine. Now, if the Patriots have a bad year, they struggle, or he doesn't get the ball enough, maybe next year he's having some issues. But I think this year he'll be on his best behavior, and this is probably his best chance to get another Super Bowl ring. So I think he'll be fine this year. Ryan, you at the 305.
I'm just keeping it Patriots. Take TreVeyon Henderson. I know there's other players who might be a little bit safer, but he finishes RB24 in the first 8 weeks last year. He barely got used and only hit a running back to once in that time. From weeks 9 on, he only finished worse than running back 30 once. And when he got the workload, we saw some huge games. He saw an RB4 finish, RB3 finish, RB3 finish. Like, we saw some big games and a ton of potential there, especially with that offense opening up a little bit. It's going to lead with AJ Brown. It's going to lead some bigger rushing lanes for him. So I think he's going to blow up.
Yeah, and I think I saw a stat. How many times a running back saw 8 men in the box this year, and Henderson was like top 3, which you wouldn't think of that being the case. But I think if he could get if they don't stack the box against him anymore, and obviously catches passes out of the backfield, I think he's going to have an awesome season this year with AJ Brown sort of taking that pressure off the passing game. All right, I'm on the clock, and I didn't think there was any way that this guy was going to get back to me. He was my second pick last year in the Scott Fish Bowl, and him and Trey McBride kind of carried me into the playoffs. I know his offense is going to probably be terrible, so his touchdowns are going to go down, but I do think there's some tremendous PPR upside, but I'll take Devon Achane here. Or is it ETN? Isn't that what we're calling him now? Isn't that how his name is supposed to be pronounced, apparently?
Yeah.
I don't know how you get that out of Achane.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, well, I'm going with Achane still, so I'll take.
You just don't have a good grasp of the English language, Geoff.
Yeah, I guess not. I've always been terrible with names. You know that. How many times do we have Joe? I don't even want to say.
Pisapia?
Yeah, Pisapia. Yeah, exactly. And I still can't say it.
Your hatred for Italians is noted.
All right, Chew. 307 in the AFC East.
We're not quite there yet, but it's already getting a little ugly, if I'm being honest. A little murky. Oh, we'll call it murky. I'll call it murky. It's not ugly yet. So there's just a lot of guys. There's just question marks. But I'm going to go ahead and go Garrett Wilson here. I know they added plenty around him, but he's still definitively the best playmaker on that team. And I believe Geno Smith is going to bounce back. I don't think it's going to be a sixth resurgence of his career at this point. I just think compared to what happened last season it was the wheels falling off, the thing getting put up on blocks, and just no one wanting it. I think this season he is playing for the Jets again, which is funny to say that, but I do think this is a much better situation. Again, they just drafted a bunch of other playmakers to surround him on top of Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson gets his. It doesn't matter who's a quarterback. It doesn't matter how atrocious the team is around him, which it just generally is. He's going to be fine. He's going to be, at worst, like a middling wide receiver 2. He's going to have some good weeks here and there. He's going to get his, call it 10, maybe 12 targets a game. Like, I trust that. So I think at this point, that's Garrett Wilson. It's a jet, but we'll go with it. That's the division we're working with.
Yeah, no, I like that pick there. You take out last season when obviously he was hurt for the majority of it. I mean, he's had at least 147 targets in every single year of his career. I think he can get that quite easily, even with the players that are around him. He had the 1 year where he had Devontae Adams across from him, and he still managed to have a ton of targets. So I know it was a different quarterback back then, but I think the targets will be there, and I think he'll be fine.
He needs that help. Like, it's just double team him.
Yep. All right, Ryan, you were up.
Back-to-back Jets time. Going Breece Hall. 1,000-yard rusher last year. Honestly, his pass catching was a little bit down, and his targets were a little bit down there. Geno is actually not bad at dumping off of the running back. We saw him do that in his Raiders days, a little bit of Josh Jacobs. He's not afraid to do that. And if we can get those targets back up to that 70-80 range for Breece Hall, he can find himself on that scope of eking into RB1 status.
I like it. Yeah, that's who I would have gone there. I think Breece Hall is another cliff that we just jumped off of in terms of talent.
Oh,
it's nice to have him re-sign too.
We jumped so hard.
Yeah.
I feel like last season it was like, all right, the team's terrible, stripping it down to the studs. Breece Hall is like, yeah, he's going to get traded, right? Doesn't get traded, has to deal with the shitstorm the rest of the season, but then gets the contract. So I really thought he was gone. So the fact that he's there, got paid, like,
it's so weird. It's so weird.
It's the Jets. What do you expect?
God, the Jets got a jet.
Yeah, Jets are going to jet. And I'm going to make it 3 Jets in a row. We've been talking about the Jets quite a bit. It is super flex. Haven't taken a quarterback yet. You mentioned Geno will bounce back. I think I agree with that. And he's always been kind of a gunslinger anyway. So I think he's going to find a way to sling it all over the field with the receivers that he's got. So give me Geno Smith here at the 309 for the AFC East.
Nice.
And then it's up to you, Chew. You got next.
Oh boy. You know what? It's Superflex, right? So give me Malik Willis. The small sample size, he started off in the Titans. I have a buddy who's a Titans fan. Like, it doesn't go well often for quarterbacks that are starting in Tennessee. Vince Young probably was the best back in the day. But I remember the Jake Locker days, all this other stuff. Like, it normally doesn't go tremendously well.
Oh, did we lose Chew? I think we lost him.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think Restream didn't like his pick there.
So, I mean, as soon as you start talking about a team like that, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, for sure. But I'll finish up with some thoughts of mine on Malik Willis. I mean, obviously the rushing upside is there with him. Had a pretty good fill-in season last year when Jordan Love went down and actually looked pretty good. But he doesn't have a whole lot around him there.
That's a vastly different team.
Yes, 100%. Oh, she was back. Is he? Nope, he is not back yet. Yeah, so obviously the talent isn't there. We're not even sure who the receiver 1 is there right now. So, but at this point, it's super flex.
Tutu Atwell, baby.
Tutu Atwell, yeah, it's probably who the receiver is. All right, Ryan, you got the 311.
Oh, we're going with the old man here. Taking Hunter Henry. He's a legit red zone threat. He finished top 10 last year. That offense is gotten better again, which just means more red zone opportunities for Hunter Henry. I'd say you're chasing touchdowns, but he still had 87 targets last year.
Yep.
And I know they got more weapons, but I can also see a world where they give Drake May a little bit more freedom this year because he's earning his stripes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely who I would have gone with. I actually got Hunter Henry and Scott Fishbowl pretty late, and I was ecstatic to get him.
He gets no respect, and he's such a draft steal.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I am up at the 312. Chew is still not back yet, so we'll give him a few more minutes. I am going to bet here on upside, and we're going to make it back-to-back tight ends here. The Jets went out and spent a high draft pick on this guy, and um, will he have one of those rookie tight ends that we've seen in the past with Laporta and Bowers and that kind of thing? No, I don't think so. I don't think he's in a good enough offense to be able to do that. But I think he can be good enough in in tight end premium to pay off here. So I'll take Sadiq at the which is essentially the 112 in this division. Chew, you took Malik Willis, and Restream said nope, and just kicked you out of here. Anything you wanted to finish up on that before we move on?
Honestly, I don't want to add anything else because I think the fantasy guide said you're an absolute moron. Please don't do that. But I will not take the pick back. I just won't expand on it any further. And when it blows up in my face, we can be reminded that I was told now that I shouldn't have done that. So
fair enough. All right, you were back on the clock while you were gone. 2 tight ends went. Hunter Henry and Kenyon Sadiq went. So you were back on at what is essentially the 201 in this division.
Well, why not go with a former Panther? I don't think he is going to. In the Buffalo Bills' long search for getting a wide receiver one, I don't think he's it. I don't like in the truest sense, but I do think he's a pretty good opportunity to do something close to that. And I'm glad he was able to get out of Chicago, not because it's their fault. You see what they're building. There's plenty of other talent that was behind him, and I think the writing was on the wall. But I do think there's an opportunity for DJ Moore here to step in, and it's not Keon Coleman. It never was. It's not going to be. DJ Moore. I think.
Why are you taking shots at Geoff like that?
No, shots at me. I was like, damn.
Wow. Really taking shots at Geoff.
Love Keon Coleman on the show. But yeah, DJ Moore, I think it's still at this point in his career. Between him and Khalil Shakir, how good the Bills have been doing without a the go-to wide receiver one, I think is a testament to how good Josh Allen the offense is. But I think DJ Moore can help elevate that room a bit and can at least be like the target leader, even if it's not a top 12 season or top whatever. But back in wide receiver 2, I think is pretty feasible.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good pick. All right, Ryan, you got the 202 here for the AFC East.
I think I'm going to go with Josh Allen's former wide receiver one, because I don't think he's going to be completely forgotten about here, is Khalil Shakir. He really trusts him, and he's able to make some big plays, and I think he can still be a 700-800-yard guy without much changing that offense, adding DJ Moore.
Yeah, I agree. I think Shakir is kind of his safety blanket, his guy when he's in trouble. He's looking for Shakir somewhere, and I think he's the third down guy too. He trusts him on third down. All right,
real man.
I'm up, and I'm going to make it 3 Bills in a row because I'm going to take what I thought you were going to say. If you said receiver 1, I thought you were going to go Kincaid, because Kincaid has been kind of a big part of that offense as well. Josh Allen spreads it around pretty good, but tight end premium. Dalton Kincaid is a good enough tight end that I think he finished top 10 last year, and he has some big playability as well. So Kincaid at the 203 is who I'm going to go with here.
It's impressive, Kincaid, with the snap share too, what he's able to do on a fantasy wise. So if he's healthy, obviously they trust Knox to do what he does, but Kincaid did very well last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Chew, you got the 204.
Well, I will pick the guy that will infuriate every Trevion Henderson manager once again this season. That is Ramondre Stevenson. It doesn't matter how many times this man fumbles the ball. He is just beloved by this coaching staff. And it's a true kind of thunder and lightning dynamic that I know a lot of coaching staffs go for now and have for a long time. I really do think that, even with Henderson growing his role tremendously, which I'm sure he will, and that makes plenty of sense. He's a talented guy, but I do think Stevenson is still going to grind out a lot of between the tackles carries. Will it be tremendously valuable? I don't know. I think it's going to depend on what the red zone looks like and just on certain games when it's more of a hot hand approach or just whatever the hell the offensive coordinator wants to do. But Stevenson would routinely just be given the lion's share of touches, sometimes seemingly for no reason. And for that reason exactly, I will go ahead and get him in this one just to make sure if I need a plug-in flex spot, I'll put him in there and hope he vultures a touchdown or two. So
Yeah, there was a game last year that they were comparing Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson side by side. It was like in the third or fourth quarter. They're talking about the two of them and showing just how ineffective Ramondre Stevenson was and how effective Henderson was in his few touches. In the next 3 plays, they went Stevenson, Stevenson, Stevenson. It was like, what the hell are they looking at? Like, but yeah, you're right. He's going to be frustrating to all those Henderson owners out there. He's not going away anytime soon for whatever reason.
And he still averaged 4.6 a carry. Leave him alone. That's
Yeah.
not. That's better. That's better than a lot of running backs above him.
Fair. He's just, I don't know. We want to see the exciting stuff.
Hell yeah, we do. He averaged 5.1.
Yeah, this is true. And the 4.6 is all he's getting you, right? He's getting 4.6 and he's falling down.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, you got the 205 here.
Wait, did I miss Gino getting picked?
Yeah, I took Gino a couple weeks ago.
Damn it, he wasn't crossed off.
Yeah, we lost Chew during that time, so he.
My bad. I lost my duties there.
Oh gosh, it got real gross real quick. It got gross enough. I was gonna take him. I'm gonna take Romeo Doubs. I think he's the wide receiver 2 in New England. He has some big playability. I think he'd be a red zone threat for them. So I'll go with him here.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
I expect that offense to be pretty good.
Yeah,
it's real gross right now.
I think Doubs is better as the receiver 2. I think he was asked to be the receiver 1 in Green Bay, and I don't think that's his role. I think he'll be much better as a receiver 2.
Agreed. Yeah, he's not the guy.
All right, I am up at the 205 here, and we've gone a whole round and a half, and we have not taken the wide receiver 1 for the Miami Dolphins yet.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly. That's why we haven't taken him, because I don't even know if the Dolphins know who that person is. So I am going to take the one that I think has a little bit more upside just based on the unknown, and I will take the rookie Chris Bell and hope that he can at least start the season healthy. I know that's a question mark right now if he can even start the season healthy or not, but if he can get on the field, I think he is their top receiving option. So give me Chris Bell here.
Geoff, thank you for allowing to plug my article I just posted yesterday, because he is the one I'm bullish on. He's, again, like you're saying, if he's healthy, there's not a better opportunity. Well, it's still not a great offense, but in terms of lack of stuff in front of him, I think he's a pretty intriguing talent. I mean, physical freak. I don't think he's the next Debo, because every draft class does not need the next Debo, but he's got a pretty huge ceiling ahead of him.
Yeah. Just health is the only question mark right now. I think he would have gone higher in the actual NFL draft if he was healthy, and I think he would have gone. He would have gotten a little bit more hype as a rookie in fantasy if he was healthy as well.
Mm-hmm. Can you repeat that Debo Samuel's comment one more time? Just in case people missed it, because they need to hear it.
Yeah, Debo is one.
Everybody wants it.
Yeah, it's every year. It's who's the next Debo and who is the next Puka Nacua. The next undrafted superstar. And it's like that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah. I think wasn't Malachi Corley? Xavier Legette, I think, got a little buzz of that. And as a Panthers fan, I'm like, absolutely not. Please don't do it. And they traded up into the first and got him. Great.
Yep. All right. Choose up. Chew, you're up at the 6 here. 206.
Well, I am happy to stay in Miami, and honestly, I'm between 2 Dolphins right now. It sounds a little sexual, but I promise it's just fantasy related. Which still sounds weird.
Which also sounds sexual.
Yeah, it does. So I'm gonna go Malik Washington here. I know he kind of going into the offseason, he was the de facto wide receiver 1 because they sincerely didn't have anyone else. And I know they've added plenty of bodies around him, some not washed veterans, but some kind of ancillary wide receiver 3s that are likely now still wide receiver 3s on the Dolphins. But how he finished his collegiate career at UVA, a rival, of course, to my beloved Virginia Tech Hokies, was nothing short of incredible. And I know it's his usage on special teams, but also as a receiver, he had a tremendous final season there at UVA. So I'm not saying he's going to recreate that anywhere near close to it in the NFL, here in the Dolphins especially. But I really think, alongside Chris Bell, I do think they can be an exciting tandem. Will it be crazy productive? Maybe not, but I do think it's getting pretty ugly pretty quick in this draft, and that's the positivity I'm going to throw in this.
Yeah, and he was kind of your boy last year, wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you were.
He did okay.
Yeah. All right, Ryan for 207.
Oh, so I'm really, really struggling here. I'm going with somebody who don't have listed on the list. I'm gonna take Josh Palmer for Buffalo.
Nice.
With Khalil Shakur and DJ Moore being smaller receivers, Josh Palmer kind of gives them that over the top, vertical, big body threat on the outside, which keeps him in a role on that team. And I think that being on the field is huge in an offense like that.
Yeah, I like that pick, and I didn't write him down. I looked at his name, and I was like, I'm gonna leave him off the list. But good on you to take him, because he is different than most of the receivers at there. Obviously, Keon Coleman is there too, but no one's believing in Keon Coleman anymore.
Keon Coleman's not no, and like on two receiver sets, it's probably gonna be Palmer and Moore.
I agree. Yep, I agree.
He was a good get from the Chargers too. I feel like seeing him in the Chargers is buried behind a bunch of other receivers, and seeing him get to go to Buffalo, it's like this is the chance, right? So
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of those were like big body receivers.
Yep.
And Chargers. This is getting an opportunity he didn't have.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, I am up at the 208, and at this point in the draft, we are just looking for upside. So I will take another first-round rookie receiver, and I'll take Omar Cooper here at the 208. Again, bad offense, probably going to be bad quarterback play as well, but they're going to be constantly down, throwing the ball a ton. I think he can definitely get a ton of targets. Whether they're good targets or not, it remains to be seen, but I'll take Cooper here. And Chew, is this your last pick? Or did we miss?
Might as well be.
Yeah, did we miss? We might have missed somebody here, but you're up on the clock.
Ooh. All right. Ooh, my guy's still here. Great. All right. So it doesn't have to get too ugly for me yet. So I'm going to stay in Miami, and I'm going to go with the offseason darling, Greg Dulcich. So I feel like it's been years since, actually, it literally has been since that incredible rookie season in Denver, which was also, I think, ended by injury. But, I mean, he showed some real promise there. That was not an exciting Broncos offense at that time. He's stopped a couple places at this point. He flashed a little bit in Miami last season. And I think with the changing in the coaching staff and everything, and then him being re-signed in Miami, and then only being surrounded by essentially blocking tight ends, it speaks very highly to what they think of him. Again, it's a new coaching staff coming in, and they were impressed enough with what he did last season to keep him there and to, I think, have him be a focal point in this offense. Again, one that is devoid of a lot of high-end receiver talent. So at this point in the draft, I'm weirdly excited about getting Greg Dulcich here.
Yeah, he could very well lead the team in targets. I wouldn't put it past him if he could stay healthy all season. I don't see why he couldn't, because like you mentioned, the receivers there are not anything to write home about. All right, I just realized that the reason that we are off on our draft is because I skipped over Ryan. So Ryan, I'm gonna give you back-to-back picks here. You can take the 10 and 11 here.
Ooh.
Hey. So I'm gonna take Jalen Tolbert here for Miami, who's not on your list. He's kind of the most proven receiver they have.
Yes, that's so sad.
I mean, he had a 79 target year. We had 6, 10, and 7 touchdowns. He's an actual kind of red zone threat. So I'm gonna take him there. I don't feel good. Don't feel great.
I thought you were gonna say actual receiver.
Don't don't actually feel anything about it, but we are where we are. And wasn't expecting 2 in a row, and I feel gross. But I'm going to take Braylon Allen. I don't think he's good, but I think he's a good enough handcuff, and I think he is a good enough touchdown vulture to take at this point in our draft.
Yeah, and if God forbid Brees goes down, I mean, he took the role last year and he was relevant in fantasy at least.
He can produce the way A.J. Dillon produced, where you don't have to be good, you just have to be big, fall forward, and get some touchdowns.
Yep, absolutely. All right, I'm going to round this draft out with a K. Coleman. And it's not Keon Coleman, it is Kevin Coleman, another rookie for the Miami Dolphins. We're just taking shots here at the Dolphins, hoping that one of these guys emerges. So
Dude, we really are. We really are.
yeah, it's like we hope that one of those guys will pop off. So I'm going to take
it's vile.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. So I will take the other K. Coleman in this division, not Keon. I'll take Kevin Coleman here to round us out. All right, that wraps up our I Hate division previews, AFC East and NFC East draft. These drafts are always tough with TikTok because whenever I try to post shorts, people always are like, "Why would you take them in the second round?" And you're like, "It's not a real draft. You got to watch."
Yeah, but it's a clickbait world we live in, baby.
The lack of context drives the debate.
Yeah, I get the rage bait. People are like, well, who would do that? You're an idiot. I'm like, okay, keep clicking on it for me, please. All right, well, that wraps up the NFC and the AFC East. We're gonna do one division. I'm sorry, 2 divisions a week. We'll do probably do the South. We'll do this. No, actually, you know what? We'll do the North next week, Ryan, since you're going on vacation the week after.
Yeah, I miss the AFC North every year. I feel like.
Yeah, so I'll get the North in this year. So next week we'll do the NFC and the AFC North, and then Ryan will be on vacation for the following week. So we'll find a guest for that week, and we'll probably do the South that week, and we'll wrap it up with the West. All right, fellas, that wraps up the show. We'll go around the room. Give us your Twitter handle if you're working on anything. Ryan, if you want to plug your new enterprise, you can do that as well. We'll go to you first, Ryan.
Find me on Twitter, Foss534. Find me here. Find me over at the Rookie Big Board. Every once in a while on Twitter, I post some cards that I'm trying to sell. So check those out. There's some cool stuff.
Good stuff. And Chew.
Find me on Twitter at Father Dynasty, and the Substack is Faux Football, or go to fauxfootball.com. Usually weekly articles, and certainly this is the lull, but certainly hoping to pick that up a little bit more once there's more actionable stuff to talk about once training camp and season actually starts. So, and actually get to go to a Panthers game, preseason game. So looking forward to doing that next month.
Awesome. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Geoff Lambert77. I do want to plug our Discord. I do a terrible job of plugging it, but it's a pretty good Discord. We've got some great fantasy minds in there. It's obviously it's really busy during Scott Fish Bowl, which we're currently kind of working our way out of. But we got some cool things planned this year. I have a new ranking tool bot that each day puts up 10 player matchups, and you pick which guy you want over the other guy, and it builds a ranking based on that. And then when we get into the season, it's going to track accuracy of how accurate everybody was, and I'm going to try to find a way to build contests around that accuracy each week to see who can be the most accurate ranker. So it should be a lot of fun. If you are not already in the Discord, you can join it at goingfor2.com/Discord. It's free to join. Like I said, we got all kinds of fun stuff in there, all kinds of great minds. If you wanted to ask questions throughout the season, ask questions throughout your drafts, there's a lot of great guys in there that'll answer your questions for you. Again, that's goingfor2.com/Discord. All right, fellas. For Ryan, for Chew, I am Geoff, and we will see y'all next week.